Welcome to Stitches in Time, the podcast discussing Doctor Who the way it was meant to be watched, in chronological order, one clip at a time, starting at the Big Bang and ending with the heat death of the universe. I'm Becca, the Matrix Archivist, and I spent the last 13 years of my life meticulously editing the entire televised Doctor Who universe into chronological order.
And I'm Mandy, and I've actually had too long arms my entire life, which is why I couldn't wear skirts in middle school.
You gotta shrug, Mandy. You gotta.
That's good.
I
That's
tried,
good.
and they would make me shrug them down. And you know what the problem is? It is not that my arms are too long, because in that case, my legs would also be too long. It is that my torso is too short.
Oh.
I should have been a taller person, but my torso is very squished, and like if I move to the side, my rib cage and my hip bones touch, and it hurts a lot.
Wow. Incredible. And I'm sorry, but also
Yeah.
you're great. So shut up.
It took me a really long time to learn how to do stretches without wanting to vomit, because a lot of stretches is just, hey, take all of your very short torso with all the insides and just squish them together.
Oh. Yeah.
And I'm Sara Caplan. I am Mandy's organs, and I appreciate that she has learned these lessons finally.
Yeah.
My organs are so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry,
stop.
as I drink a beer.
I'm saving myself for your surgeon.
Today we are talking about Wild Blue Yonder.
There's something on this ship that's so bad the TARDIS ran away.
Yes.
An episode that I enjoyed when it came out so much that I made a TikTok about it, and so I had to refer back to what the TikTok that I made 2 years ago was to try to remember what I felt so passionately about to make a TikTok at like 11 at night.
Amazing. This is we are in 3041 BC, so we're already getting out of the 3000s BC pretty quick here, Mandy, and we're actually talking about the main chunk of the episode, which in the edit is just over 45 minutes. So, yay.
Now, this does bring an interesting thing into the edit, where, so this includes most of Wild Blue Yonder, except for the opening bit with the Mavity, but they do continue to reference Mavity throughout the rest of the episode, even though that has not happened in our chronological timeline, but
Right.
It is, I guess, happened for them at some point later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As far as we're concerned, we just had Donna in a wedding dress for a while, yelling, and now they're here. I guess she changed clothes.
Yes, indeed. Although this we did see Donna in this outfit for we had the episode about the giggle when they went into the toy maker's realm.
Donna has two outfits. It is a wedding dress and this outfit, and she's just flip-flopping between them. It might be something like, when you get a wedding dress, you have to like do a lot of fittings and stuff like that. So maybe she's wearing it for the fitting, and then she's taking off and putting comfy clothes, and then they want to put her back in it to like test the fitting again, and she has to yell at the doctor, and now she's back in the comfy clothes for it to do its final round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that at the same time that this episode takes place, the reigning pharaoh in what would have been the first dynastic period of ancient Egypt would either have likely been like Hor-Aha or his son Jer, possibly his son Jet, but more likely Jer or Hor-Aha.
Fun. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Yeah, honestly, I love this. I think this is maybe my favorite of the specials, the 60th anniversary specials that
Yeah,
came out.
I think it's definitely like the best of them. I really like Beep the Meep. I have such a strong affinity for Beep the Meep that I just love seeing Beep the Meep.
Sure.
But I think Wild Blue Yonder is a better episode, and it like such an interesting episode, and really it was the thing that established, oh, this is why I'm happy that Russell T Davies is back, because
Hmm.
this was the moment of not just reckoning with all the stuff that like has happened since he was there, but actively taking a thing that people didn't like about the previous season, the whole timeless child thing, and it's like, not only are we keeping this, we are going to make it emotional resonance. It is so weird that the back of Becca's camera is just me doing the thumbs up right as I was doing. I have been doing the exact same things over and over again. Oh my god. Oh, this is gonna be a nightmare. Podcast audio listeners, Becca is just playing us behind her, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm playing the
from
last
last
episode that Sarah was on.
That's
So-
actually chronologically incorrect, Becca. The last episode I was on was Meanwhile in the TARDIS.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it's a good point. I should have had that one up behind me. I don't know why.
Yeah, and if you're currently listening to this episode, the current timestamp in this recording is now 17 minutes into the episode playing on Becca's TV.
Yeah, I tried to sync it up. I tried to sync up at least my intro with my.
I thought you were playing a live feed of Zoom at first.
Really?
Yeah, and now it's quite clear that like your hair is different. It wasn't until I saw I was like, wait, that's not the shirt I'm wearing.
That's incredible. Like, if I had been able to hook that up, I might have done that. But
Oh,
that
we
seems
would have
like
been
a lot.
unable to record a podcast because I'm a goddamn magpie. I already spend most of our recording looking at myself. If there were two of me, and like there are
We all
now,
do it.
oh,
Mhm.
We all do it.
because we're hot girls.
We're just really hot girls. Is
true.
the thing.
Biologically
That's what-
useful girls.
That's what hot girls do. And speaking of what hot girls do, I'm going to talk about how this episode it also brought back a lot of the like Dr. Donna stuff of what their relationship is and what it is not. The thing that I made a goddamn TikTok about, and now I'm going to rehash it all over again because nobody watched that TikTok. And now no one is going to listen to this podcast episode. But
No, at least 3 digits.
the bit where the doctor and Donna know about the not things, but they are trying, like when they meet them the second time and are trying to figure out whether or not it is the actual one or not.
I've had 15 years without you, and I saw everything that's happened to you since, and oh my god, it hurt.
I immediately knew that the Donna that was with the doctor was not Donna, and the reason why I knew that is because she was open and honest and wanted to talk to the doctor about his feelings, and I was like, that's not what their relationship is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the doctor should know that, but is so desperate for human contact and the option to talk to his friend about his problems that he's going to ignore the clear signs that that's not your friend. That's someone manipulating your feelings.
Sure. I mean, I think also like they have both matured a lot since
they-
they last saw each other.
I will argue and granted, it's not in the clip because at that point it's when they're going on the TARDIS where the
Mhm.
doctor asks Donna, "Hey, according to the not thing, you know about stuff," and she was like,
Right.
"No, I didn't see much. I mean, if you wanted
Oh,
to
yeah.
talk about something," and he's like, "No, if you didn't see anything, though, if you did, I would maybe want to talk about it." Like they are both dancing around the subject.
That is true. Yes. Yeah.
And I love that as an encapsulation of like the not things do not understand human contradictions, and a human contradiction is how they can be as close as they are and not be talking about something like that.
Yeah. That's really cool.
And I scrubbed through that part that you're talking about, so I just have no thoughts.
Great. Sarah, what are your sort of general feelings about this episode?
My first thought was like, wow, David Tennant looks older than I remember. And then I realized it was a 60th anniversary special and not an OG David Tennant ep.
Right.
And that all made sense. Otherwise, I guess like, so when they first started like flipping between the two different conversations that were happening, like Doctor with fake Donna and Donna with fake Doctor,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, as fast as I can, wolfing down a room temperature can of SpaghettiOs and like scrubbing through this episode to try to get enough of it in my head to be somewhat useful on the podcast. And so like that was happening and I was so confused and I was like, I don't understand, why was Becca editing it this way? And like this doesn't feel like chronological order because the conversations don't match up, Becca. And eventually I realized what was going on. And it was pretty fun after that.
I mean, this does bring up a question of whether or not it should be edited so that either both conversations are just happening simultaneously, or if we are just presuming that in the timeline they're having a conversation and then this one over here will also talk.
Yeah, I don't. So I didn't feel like I had any reason to be like, these things are happening at exactly this precise same moment. Like, I'm just like, this is probably...
I felt like we could trust the editors on that one.
Yeah.
Like
we
the
can
conversations...
trust the BBC so much.
The conversations were happening simultaneously, but I felt like we were cutting back and forth between the conversations in linear time.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
And then their arms were too long.
My arms are too long.
And then their arms are too long.
Which I love was a practical effect.
I know. Yeah, if you, listeners, if you have not watched the Doctor Who Unleashed behind the scenes of this episode, it's on YouTube and you should check it out because it's so cool. They, like, built prosthetic giant arms for David Tennant.
That's really cool. It's interesting, though, because so much of the set was clearly CGI in a way that felt out of character for the show. At least as I remember it, because I stopped watching when Peter Capaldi took over. So I don't know if there's been more of these, like, kind of full virtual sets.
Not really. I think this is kind of the first... I feel like this is the first time that like this much of the action has taken place in a CG set, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like obviously they were trying to do this, insanely long hallway. I get they're not going to build a real one,
Right.
but you'd at least think that like they would build a practical segment of the hallway and like digitally extend it.
Oh yeah, no, they were just in a green screen studio for that.
Yeah, they're just in a big green box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can appreciate that they seem to at least have, they kind of pick and choose what is going to be like, what is going to be a CG, what is going to be practical, and kind of like getting, okay, what are the limitations of each of those and making decisions based off of it, rather than, I feel like they could have like very easily been like, oh, all of it's just going to be a green screen, entirely CG. And it's like, no, it's like with the set being what it is, it makes sense for that to be a green screen. There are definitely like scenes in there, particularly with like when the not things become like big monster stuff of like, oh, you want like CG is kind of going to be the best way for you to present that. But then what else can you do that's going to be...
That's what you're using to refer to the doppelgangers.
Mm-hmm. That is
Yeah.
what they sort of call themselves.
That's what they call themselves.
Yeah.
When you scrub through these episodes and then try to talk about them, you learn so much.
My favorite part about you scrubbing through these episodes is that when I asked you what blog or podcast, you replied very quickly in all caps about this particular.
Yeah, but it's just because I love David Tennant.
Great.
Especially when I'm watching him as quickly as possible.
I didn't even look up like which David Tennant episode that was. I just
I love when I don't have to hear David Tennant speak.
no, I was listening. This was clearly the budget episode. You said they did a series of these anniversary episodes?
Yes, there were 3 of them, and like this was the middle one.
Yeah, like a straight up 2-actor cast
Mhm.
and largely CG set. Like, this was not where the money was going. I thought it was still good.
Right.
Like, I feel like often it's these more limited episodes where you get better writing because you have to.
Yeah, I mean the Meep episode. Yeah, the other 2 episodes are like very practical effects, and like I feel like there's very little CG in them. But like also thinking about this episode, like they also spend because the only CG part of this set is the hallway, and they do spend a decent amount of time in there, but they also spend a lot of time like in the cockpit and in these sort of side rooms
That's true.
that are practical sets. The BBC, I think, is very good and has generally been very good over the course of even Classic Who and everything, of like being able to like reuse set pieces and stuff. And I don't know like the specifics, but like I do feel like these sort of spaceship rooms, like it would not surprise me if you told me like, oh yeah, this is what was in like Space Babies, or this, this is just like, oh yeah, we just moved these walls and like made it a different thing for this. And I feel like they've always been very good at like doing sort of modular sets like that.
Yeah. I know that they had that with the like Donna's house and Belinda Chandra's house are the same house.
Yeah.
They're set up exactly the same way.
Mm-hmm. They're both destroyed the same way. So I do love this episode, but also it does have the Raiders of the Lost Ark problem of like, if they had not gone there, it wouldn't have, like the ship would have just blown up and everything would have been fine.
The doctor makes it worse.
The doctor makes it worse. And it's like, that's not usually when the doctor goes somewhere, like it's to free a society, or to, do something noble, or fight against bad guys, or like to kill Daleks or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this one is just like, no, this ship was already going to self-destruct.
And soon. The fact that this has been happening for 3 years and they came in like the last hour.
Yeah. And the TARDIS just kind of brought them there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something because like the TARDIS brought them because it was broken, and it's like typically the TARDIS takes the Doctor to a place where they're needed and is like doing good. And I guess part of it being broken is that then the TARDIS was evil. And it's like, I'm going to take you where you can do bad. The coffee made the switch go from good TARDIS to evil TARDIS.
Which is what it does to me too.
Yeah, fair.
Can we talk about the like what are the not things?
They are, so this episode, they find themselves on a spaceship that is at the very edge of the universe. And so the not things are just entities that come from the edge of the universe. And so they're not like our universe has things, they are not that.
Yeah, I don't think it says like clear cut, but I think it's kind of like left open-ended in the same way that like the Satan pit was like was that Satan? Is the devil a real being that exists?
Yeah, like it's a
don't
very
know,
like
maybe.
eldritch horror. We don't know what they are. They can only be described by their not being us.
Mhm.
Yeah. They seem to have plenty of experience mimicking humanoid figures.
Mm.
To the point where they knew the knees were a problem. They knew that after they fixed the arms, it was always the jaw next.
Yeah, and like the implication is that they're like the spaceship did originally have people on that, and they have already destroyed all those people. Like they have like taken over and could like done something like again don't have clear on what exactly they are doing with the people other than like mimicking them.
I mean,
And
the captain of the ship is the corpse that's like orbiting it outside. Um, maybe that's where my idea of like, oh, when Amy Pond and Matt Smith jump out of the TARDIS, they start orbiting each other or whatever. Maybe that's where that came from. But anyway, now I lost my train of thought. Oh, the captain of the ship, like, you know, went out the airlock and like committed suicide because she was like, I don't want these things to copy me. I don't want these things, anything to be copied or whatever. And so like, I wonder if that was also.
Was she
like,
a human?
No, she was
weird,
like
fucked up alien.
weird fucked up
like
horse,
a horse.
like a
Yeah.
horse-headed alien.
Oh, sick! Hell yeah!
Like
Oh.
IRL horse girl. They've made horse girls in space now.
BoJack Horseman vibes.
But unfortunately, they also have depression and suicidal ideation.
Right. Which
Well, they were also saving the universe from.
They were also a horse girl. I'm sorry
Yeah.
I'm sorry, horse girls. I respect you, horse girls. I'm
in what
sorry
way-
for the horse girl. I don't mean to defame you, horse girls.
in what way were they saving the universe?
Oh, just by killing themselves, they became uncopyable because
Right.
the not things had to like have like a mental connection with them.
I see. And how did that save the universe?
Because if they don't have form, then they can't enter the universe. And then
And they can't like pilot a ship and then come back and be like, I'm definitely the pilot. Let me in and let me copy y'all.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have form, they can't enter the universe. And they need a mental connection in order to take your form. I just don't buy it. See, this is my problem. I find the whole premise of this episode simply not compelling. I get it. They're eldritch horrors. We're not supposed to understand them. But they have these rules. So there's some rules governing them. They're not just like nonsense fae. And what possible way could an entity have developed out in the outer reaches of the nothing that was like, yes, this is a perfectly equipped being to latch on to a mental presence and then copy its form, but it's not allowed into the universe without one. And
Are you trying to see how justifiable a Doctor Who plotline is? How the Doctor Who's really being unrealistic here.
This is why I stopped watching Doctor Who.
Is because you realized this whole premise. Look, first of all, time travel's not possible. Second of all, what's this magic box bigger on the inside?
Things have to be
Doesn't
the
make
size
sense.
that they are. This is an insult to architecture.
Third of all, why is anybody that old? Come on, 900.
Right.
Let's
Exactly.
Stop that.
I was getting to the end of the Matt Smith episodes, and I was just like, no, wait a second. How is it bigger on the inside?
Yeah, accurate.
Yeah, I just sent y'all a GIF in the Zoom chat of a
You're a GIFer?
Oh yeah.
There's the whole like GIF
no.
GIF.
This is a nuke la vie
Discourse.
voguing Volga Are y'all Grimm heads? Are y'all big
I
Grimm
don't know
heads?
anything that you just. I don't understand a
what you
single word you
said.
just said.
Are you familiar with the show Grimm?
It's
I am
that.
aware that it exists.
Yeah, I think I've watched like an episode or two. Isn't that the show where they like killed off the lead character after a while? Just did a season without her.
No. That's not
What?
Grimm.
I'm thinking
No,
of
that
a
was
different
Doctor
show
Who.
then.
Yeah, they do that on Doctor Who all the time, actually. I don't know what show you're thinking of.
It was probably Once Upon a Time, honestly.
Could have been. Grimm is about Portland detective Nick Burkhart, who finds out that he's the descendant of a long line of monster slayers called Grimms, which means he has the power to see the true nature of people like this guy in this GIF, who are like kind of, not human. They're these like, creatures.
I want to confirm I was thinking about Sleepy Hollow, which came out in 2013. This came out in 2011.
Yes, Grimm is fantastic.
I believe
when
it's
he-
pronounced Drim.
Yeah, you're right. Drim is amazing, and within the world of Drim, when one of these people, like someone who's actually like kind of some kind of animal-inspired monster man, usually like all folklore creatures exist in the world of Drim, and they're called Vessen, and they're kind of like humans. They can look like humans when they want to, or they can take on these like animal-y monster vibes when they want to. And that is called voguing. Not to be confused with voguing the dance. This is the German word, Volga. Anyway, welcome to Stitches and Drim. But you said they made a horse girl, and that reminded me of this GIF that I had saved on my computer of this Nuclavie, this French horseman voguing,
man turning into a horse. Yeah, it's accurate. I do have a question about the horse girl, specifically about the girl part, because if you watch this in the BBC order, they just came off of talking about how Donna Noble has a trans daughter, and they had a whole conversation about pronouns. And then in this episode, David Tennant, who canonically the TARDIS isn't there, so it's not translating, and they say that, and also David Tennant doesn't know this language that all of the ship's stuff is in. And Donna makes this comment of like, about the pilot.
But why? Did they throw him out? Her out? Them out?
I wonder.
And David Tennant immediately says, she. I'm like, how do you know? How do you, a person who does not know the language, let alone like the species of the person you're talking about, how do you know the pronouns? It was just
her massive titties.
Oh, massive horse titties. Yeah.
I don't know. Can you give me a timestamp? I want to see this horse captain.
There's I hate to disappoint you. There is no horse titties.
No, I don't want to see the titties. I don't have any interest in. I don't have any interest in looking at titties. I only care about whether or not they're biologically useful. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep making this joke, which is a reference to a comment left on one of my Instagram videos that we talked about before recording. So, audience, you don't get to know. She's lactating, so she's orbiting the ship with just like a comet's tail of milk.
Yeah.
She doesn't have titties, but she does have bright red lipstick and extra long eyelashes, so that you know that she's the girl.
She's wearing the little she/her pronoun pin.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think maybe the doctor was just being like, just woke, Like, look, if we have to choose a set of pronouns to use to refer to the captain of this ship, like, let's just assume it was a woman. This is the whole, like, the doctor was his mom, you know?
Right. Yeah. That's very progressive. A female captain in 3041 BC. That's amazing.
A female
Oh, God.
suicide victim?
We're talking like this is during the reign of the pharaoh Jer, right? And I'm looking for this horse.
It sounds like it's just his name is Jerry, and you're just like really good friends with him.
No, I'm trying really hard to pronounce the DJ.
Jer.
Yeah, I think I have a GIF of Jer. Let me grab.
I'm just picturing Jerry Seinfeld, but dressed as a pharaoh, and I feel like that's a little bit of a problematic mental image.
Yeah,
if you want to send us fan art,
yeah, pharaohs and chariots getting coffee. Okay. You know, you say that he didn't speak the language, and I know he was very clear to explicitly tell us he didn't, and that he speaks over 50 billion languages, but not this one.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched him look at the screens in the sitting in the captain's chair, looking at all these screens, and go,
If I can translate their basic 1 to 10, I can find out where we are. And when. And why.
I just have to translate 1 to 10, and then I can read the source code. So
right.
And I watched him do it in about 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I think this guy can just like look at a floating corpse in space and just intuit the gender.
Yeah, he can smell it.
It's really pheromones when you come right down to it.
You know that thing of like, these creatures who've evolved so that they keep producing pheromones up to 3 years after they die.
Strong enough pheromones to penetrate
open space
spaceship.
And a spaceship hull.
The doctor just understands. You see a horse person, that's a horse girl. If you don't talk about horse boys, there's not horse. It's horse girl. Horse girl.
No. There's horse girls and there's wild stallions.
And that body up there was not a wild stallion.
I feel like these are just bathroom signs on like a Wild West saloon
That's so true.
themed bar.
Becca, have I ever told you...
it's horse girls and cowboys.
Becca,
have I ever told you about my dream business?
No.
My dream business is the International House of Pancakes and Strippers. It is a brunch strip club, and that is actually what the signs of our restrooms are going to be. It's going to be horse girls and wild stallions. Wild stallions is for everybody. Horse girls...
Yeah. Wild stallions is gender neutral.
Wild stallions is urinals and stalls. Horse girls is just stalls, right? That's...
Yeah. There's only one rule in the wild stallions bathroom, and that's be excellent to each other. I think that would be positive change for society. Like,
horse girls, there's no bathroom in there. It's just for applying lipstick. It's just a big mirror. If you actually want to piss, you have to do so in the wild stallions.
No, I don't know. I love a gender neutral bathroom, don't get me wrong. And like I love a solo stall, but it's whatever, not space efficient. I'm okay with there being women's only bathrooms. I just don't think there should be men's only bathrooms.
That checks out.
That's what I like about horse girls and wild stallions as a bathroom system.
Stallion.
I don't think men should be allowed in the bathrooms. I don't think they should be allowed to be. Yeah.
In order for a man to piss, they have to take off their pants, which is exposing the rest of us to danger. And I don't think it should be allowed.
Look, I don't understand why men need bathrooms. Because, like, they're not putting any of the piss in the urinal. It's going all over the floor anyway.
for somebody else to clean up.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Becca, they're creating jobs.
You're right. I'm sorry. Cis men are good for the economy.
That's the platform that you're running on for 2026. Cis men are good for the economy.
Yeah. I personally have created thousands of jobs all across this country.
I've been all across this great nation pissing constantly.
On the floor.
I piss places you wouldn't believe.
I pop a squat in every state.
There's a woman now working on top of the Statue of Liberty. She didn't have that job before.
Oh my god. I mean, look, the standards we have for presidential candidates are so low that, like, I feel like I almost have to do this.
I'd vote for you.
Cool, thanks.
If you get on my ballot, I will vote for you. That's a promise. That's a guarantee. I'm not going to write you in.
Right, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I will I'll work on that.
If you became president, then this podcast would be a matter of national security. You wouldn't be able to edit because all of it would have to be part of the National Archives.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, goodness. Yeah, this is as long as they keep making Doctor Who and Doctor Who related things, this is still a living, breathing art project, which is kind of cool, but also fucking exhausting. Oh my god. Side note, speaking of exhausting, I was up super late last night because one of the things I'm doing, and I'm going to try and have it in the next iteration, but it's so hard to do, but I'm committed to it because I'm like 3/4 of the way done with this particular part of it, which is I've been taking the colorized Daleks and I've been editing it into the black and white Daleks. Because I don't know if you know this, Sarah, but they have released colorized versions of old black and white adventures, but they've also edited them down significantly. So, like,
you don't have to watch like 7 episodes. You can just watch 90 minutes.
Yeah, they condense like 3.5 hours into 1.5 hours.
Yeah, it's a Doctor Who Kai.
That's a Dragon Ball reference,
Yeah,
Becca.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, it's fine. Okay, so you've been
I've been editing the colorized shots. I'm gonna keep the length of the Daleks or the war games, but I would like to include the color things because they are very well done and they're very pretty. But it's exhausting.
Yeah, I guess what I'll say is I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. I shouldn't.
But I do things you wouldn't do.
Yeah. Be successful.
I'm not successful. I'm not successful until my parents aren't paying half of my rent, Becca.
All right, fine. I guess that's the one thing I have on you. That's the two things I have on you, Sarah, is that I am the type of person who would edit the colorized Daleks into the black and white Daleks. And I am self-sustaining, except for sometimes.
No, and as always. And you also have an award-winning Fringe musical that's toured internationally, and I don't have that either.
Wow. That, I guess, is technically true.
Can we talk about asexuality?
Sure. The concept or my show?
Yeah, the concept.
Okay, great.
Do you think someone who has sex would have the time and the wherewithal to spend 12 years editing Doctor Who together in chronological order? Because I feel like they would get distracted too easily.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not.
As someone who so very rarely has sex, I can't know. Because I have adequate time to have done this. I should be very clear that the reason that I haven't done this isn't because I didn't have the time of day.
It's not about the time. It's about the desire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess I lack both of these kinds of desires usually.
Interesting.
So I know some asexual people who masturbate, and I know some asexual people who don't, and that just kind of varies person to person. But do you think an asexual person would be like more or less or neutral likely to be interested in having sex with their doppelganger than they would, like, I don't know, a normal person?
I mean, first of all, Sarah, being asexual, that is normal. Being a trans
No.
femme,
Normal as in not your
asexual person-
doppelganger.
Oh, I see. And wanting to fuck your doppelganger, that's normal. That's the normal way to be.
Yeah.
Yes, that's clear. But
I mean, I think just like point blank wanting to fuck your doppelganger, that's got to be normal, right? Please tell me that's normal. That's
of course
normal.
that's normal.
That's
Of course
normal.
it's
Yeah.
normal.
That's normal.
Yes.
I mean,
anyone who says otherwise is lying, or
I-
maybe
yeah.
asexual.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly I'm like demisexual.
Yeah,
There's a whole
that's
like
me. That's
there's a whole
yeah.
spectrum under the ace umbrella.
I
know-
live
I know
in
we all
that
know
in
this,
that
but-
gray ace territory.
Yeah. But I would absolutely I would fuck my doppelganger, and I feel like, and I feel, honestly, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I feel like I would fuck my, like, if my pre-transition doppelganger showed
I think
up.
we talked about this the last time I was on
Oh my
this
God.
podcast. It's quite possible. Okay, so you would fuck
I-
your pre-trans doppelganger.
Becca, I was fully expecting you to say that you would fuck Sarah's doppelganger.
Look,
And I
What
was
an
like,
insane thing
this
to
is
say
a
to a
weird
person.
Come on.
I think all of our doppelgangers should get together for a three-way.
I would fuck
Yeah.
my doppelganger, and I would certainly fuck y'all's.
I
I
Not
would
you,
fuck.
though.
Yeah.
no,
you
that would
really-
be creepy to say to a person. I'm never gonna walk up to someone and say, "Hey, I would fuck you," but I might say, "Hey, my doppelganger would totally fuck your doppelganger."
Hey, baby, I don't want to fuck you, but I want to fuck someone who is identical to you in every conceivable way.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
with slightly longer arms.
Let's say you and I book a first class flight to the edge of the universe, and we watch our doppelgangers do it. That's
They haven't got knees. They certainly have not figured out genitals. I would love to see that happen. I want to know what they think genitals are.
here's my question now is, if this episode had been like OG Tennant with Rose Tyler, I feel like their doppelgangers would fuck each other. And
Yeah.
like they would totally be distracted by like how into each other they were.
yes, that's true. That would have been
Yeah,
fun.
like this episode, like they can do as much as they can just because like David Tennant and Donna have always had like they have a lot of the like friendship chemistry, but of like aggressively do not want to fuck each other.
Oh yeah, no sexual tension between them whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, which is an insane thing. Like, who doesn't have sexual tension with David Tennant?
Yeah. I have sexual tension with him just through the screen.
I do too. The people watching me through my window are like, "Ugh, when's she gonna fuck David Tennant in the screen already?"
When is he gonna come out of the screen and fuck? What were the names of those fans in Lux? I can't even remember.
I don't know.
Sorry,
I've
spoilers, Sarah. I know you haven't probably watched any of the Disney Plus era stuff, but it's very good.
you don't have to worry about spoiling anything.
You should dive in. You should get back into it.
I
You don't have to have watched. You don't have to have seen the intermittent things.
I might. I'm too busy watching good TV, like the last season of You.
Oh,
Oh,
is that? Wait, is that out?
Yeah, it's out.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck, I have
yeah.
to watch that.
But I did have a thought, which is I actually have zero interest at all in watching my doppelganger fuck anybody because I don't want to see what I look like fucking.
Yeah, I don't think
I already have enough fucked up complexes surrounding my ability to enjoy having sex. I don't need to have that image in my head.
What if you had like, I think that your doppelganger would have to be on top, but you would, or maybe work on the bottom, but like whatever side that you're on, we just have like a curtain covering that so you can watch the other person fuck your doppelganger, but
Oh,
you
okay.
don't have to see yourself.
I like that. Or just put them both on like an eyes wide shut mask.
Yeah.
And then at that point, does it even have to be a doppelganger? So
I just want to watch people fuck.
I just want to watch people fuck. I did have the realization that I have to call this episode of the podcast Doppelbangers.
yeah, of course.
And I hate myself for that, but it's...
That was that Jordan Peele movie, right?
Was it?
The Jordan Peele porn parody.
Yeah. Yeah, Get Off, followed by Doppelbangers.
That's actually the name of my knockoff Hooters franchise, but I only hire twins.
I like that. I like that. And then anytime they both will serve a table together and they'll receive lewd comments, and then they just have to like turn to the guy and be like, if we were just fraternal like siblings, would you be interested in the incest aspects of this? Or do you somehow think that because we are twins, we are less fully independent people? Like, I want to explore this with you. What is it about twins that for you, sir, makes incest okay to enjoy?
Well, now here's the thing. Sarah, would you, like, for instance, I feel like I would watch you fuck your doppelganger. Like, I think that would be fun for me.
Yeah. And you know what? Isn't the same thing to say on a podcast, I guess. If two consenting adult twins wanted to fuck, I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
I heard this on NPR. It was like a retrospective on an advice columnist and just kind of the things. And one of them that she got, it was from a set of twins that were just like, we are in love. We like, what do we do this? And she was like, I guess go for it. I probably don't tell your family though.
Yeah, I don't care what two adults consent to doing with each other, I guess.
Yeah. It is like, it's weird. And I should express that I consider doppelgangers to be a very
they're
it's
not
a
twins.
distinct thing. Yeah, it's because like part of twins is that you have been raised together and like have this kind of relationship, and there's a different there's a certain perversion there which I don't like. As much of like, okay, it's like if consenting adults, but that is a difference. For like, I would not, if I had a twin, I would not fuck my twin as I would say, oh, I would immediately fuck my doppelganger, because that's like a separate entity that I have just seen today, I have not been brought up with you.
Does that apply now? Is that just like doppelgangers in like a sci-fi sense, or is that like if you like three identical strangers, you like yourself, and you met a long lost twin that you had, would you be interested in fucking them? Like somebody completely different...
Yeah, you found out.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so I guess I should clarify now because I'm Instagram famous. I should be clarifying these insane takes.
Yeah,
that end up on YouTube.
I spent a lot of time in a fandom called Osamatsu-san that fell apart because the plot of the show is that it is 6 identical brothers, and there's not really many other characters, in fandom being what it is, it desperately needed people to ship. And so it would
Yeah.
so like there was just kind of a war in the fandom of people who were shipping those brothers together, and then people who aggressively did not like having the brothers ship together. And a lot of the people on the aggressively did not like shipping these brothers together would be like, what you're doing is abuse, and you're bad people if you're doing this. And it was caught up in the middle of that, and there's a part of me that it's like, if people hear this, the discourse, you can't bring me back
Yeah.
into the discourse.
I mean, they are. I'm assuming those are fictional characters, but
Yes.
I yeah. I get what I want to clarify is
I
when
don't
I
think
say
it was one of those classic documentary animes that keeps getting made these days.
yeah. It's just like, can you abuse a fictional character? Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I think you can analyze the stuff you're putting out into the world and be like, why am I writing this? Why am I enjoying this? Do I need to be pushing this onto other people? Like, sure,
And
there's a
then-
lot of reasonable questions.
And then on the other side, I think there's a bit of like, okay, there's a bit of that engages my gross factor. Why does that engage my gross factor? What is the actual feelings of that? And people don't like to they don't like to examine why they feel disgust at something and let that be just like a neutral thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, I feel disgust, therefore what I'm seeing is wrong. And that is how you get into a lot of things of like, homophobia is very much entrenched in people just have an innate kind of disgust without examining what that feeling is.
Yes. But to clarify what I meant by two consenting adults, like, built into the concept of consent is for two adults to be able to like consent to each other in a meaningful way, there can't be like fucked up power dynamics at play. And like that's the kind of thing that I feel like in like real families, like real life families, would intrude all the time. Like when you've grown up with a person your whole life, when they have this relationship with the rest of your family because you're siblings, like it might be the case that two twins who are adults could never legitimately consent because their lives are too entangled. But it's like in a case where they have a theoretically clean case, then like whatever.
Yeah, and then that's where you get into the place where they're fictional anyway, and it's one of those like when that came out when that show came out and there was all the discourse in there, my main feeling toward it is like, well, I'm not into the incest, but I also really like watching that series of Lifetime movies based off of V.C. Andrews novels, of which incest is the most prominent thing. And I'm not into the incest, but I like watching something that's fucked up. And that's fucked up. And it was like, well, that is a mainstream like television network making a series of made-for-TV movies that are just incest all over the place. I do not have a leg to stand on to judge you.
The only place, I'm not gonna say only, that's wrong. Like, and when you're talking about like people shipping and like literal anime characters, I just let them be fucked up little freaks. You can think it's gross and wrong and that they're fucked up little freaks, but like you don't have to read whatever they're putting out there. Where I do think it turns into a case of like, no, actually this is like wrong and you shouldn't do that, is I just watched like the Tegan and Sara catfishing documentary. I don't know if y'all have seen that. But they talk about how there was this very active but tiny like sub community of fans who got really into this like twincest ship between Tegan and Sara, who are real sisters and real human beings. And like, don't do that.
Yeah, like that's...
Don't write fucked up sex shit about real human beings of any kind.
Yeah,
you don't have to be doing that. Real
people don't want to hear about who you're shipping them with,
especially when it's their sister.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't write fanfic about real human beings that you then publish online. If you have fantasies in your head,
I'm going to expand that to you shouldn't write fanfic.
Yeah, you shouldn't write fanfic.
I think I have to leave this podcast.
Because what happens when you write fanfic?
you shouldn't write any more fanfic.
When you write fanfic, you accidentally spawn the rationalist subculture. And that will inevitably lead to the development of an insane trans cult that will murder a border guard.
Oh my God.
Hey, speaking about thinking about what you're writing, I'm going to aggressively segue into another fun fact about this episode of Doctor Who.
All right.
Which is that, and this was also talked about on the Unleashed episode, that the like kind of hieroglyphs or like symbols that are on the computer screens and kind of throughout the ship they basically like the art department, somebody in the art department basically like invented like a language or an alphabet kind of thing based on like, okay, if this alien is kind of like equine, if they had like hooves, what would like a writing system look like that was sort of based on, would have been based on like an early, so like that's why it's a lot of like swipes and like kind of dots that are like, oh, you're stamping with your hoof or something.
I like that.
Which I thought was really a cool way of thinking about stuff and not just having random fucking symbols everywhere. I mean, it is random symbols everywhere, but I was like, oh, I like it when things are thought out a little bit.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
so is this episode realistic enough for you yet, Sarah?
Well, now, Becca, I'm disappointed in you because
you're only disappointed in me now.
Let me segue into that fun fact for you from the previous conversation.
Please.
Speaking of fucked up fanfics, there's a little bit of My Little Pony in this episode. In fact, the writing system was equine inspired.
There is an entire cum jar of information for you today.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, you don't know about the My Little Pony cum jar?
No.
Hey, speaking of giant, disgusting cum jars, I'd like to talk about
Where
the
can
US
people
Air
find you,
Force.
Sarah?
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
That's fine. I'm like a fairly normal sized disgusting cum jar. Thank you very much. No, what were you segueing into, Becca?
Oh, I was going to talk about the U.S. Air Force.
Oh, okay. How do they fit into this?
Well, the title of this episode is the U.S. Air Force.
What? What are you talking
Because
about?
The name Wild Blue Yonder is a reference to the song Wild Blue Yonder. But when I Googled it, that's not the real name of the song. The actual title of the song is The U.S. Air Force.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, which is insane to me. I guess it's the song of the U.S. Air Force.
Why do you think it's a reference to that song?
Because
they say it's a reference to
explicitly
that
said
song.
in the episode.
What? Why?
Because the TARDIS is like blasting it as it's having its like mental
Okay.
breakdown.
Very strange. All right. So, yeah. The U.S. Air Force?
The U.S. Air Force.
Yeah, apparently it was adopted in the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all know that the Google AI, if you ask it for the meaning of an idiom, it will provide you the meaning of the idiom, whether or not it's a real idiom?
I have heard about this phenomenon. Yes. Are you about to regale us?
No, because I don't use AI, so I don't have it activated.
Good.
My
That was a
Google
test and you
search.
passed.
Yeah. Yeah. I would never admit to using AI. I live in Los Angeles. I'd be murdered.
It's true.
Also, I'm not trying to destroy the planet. Okay?
Good. I am trying to destroy the planet, but just by doing this podcast, which I feel like is just dooming us somehow.
Yeah. I don't think it will destroy the world, what you're doing. I think it's kind of a huge waste of time that will have no impact on anything. Except for our lovely listeners. If you're one of the 100 to 999 people out there listening to this podcast, I want you to know what I'm saying directly is that you are a huge waste of time who will never impact anything.
God damn it. If you'd
I'm
like
just
to,
kidding. I'm just look.
If you'd like
I'm
to
on this
stand
pod.
up
This
for
is-
yourselves, listeners, you can leave us a 5-star review and show Sarah how fucking stupid the thing she just said was.
And I need to be clear to you, listener. This is how I'm spending my Friday night. Okay.
Yeah.
It is almost 10 p.m. on a Friday night where we live, and we are here talking about My Little Pony cum jars and Doctor Who.
Speaking of My Little Pony cum jars in Doctor Who, Sarah, where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me inside a jar on a on an old 4chan thread, unfortunately.
4chan-netly.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Thanks.
Where can people find me?
Yeah.
You can sort of find me like on a ship at the edge of the universe. I'm the person who's still alive. I've been sneaking around like a rat for 3 years, and like I was just watching all that shit play out, and like I wasn't gonna intervene because I was just like, damn, are these doppelgangers gonna fuck? And they didn't, and then I got incinerated. And
I'm
now
so
you can
sorry.
find me only on Instagram at Sara Rose Caplan.
Amazing. Listeners, please check out Sarah's Instagram. She's doing a great set of informative videos about shit.
My Instagram presence is nothing like my presence on this podcast. Also,
It's almost the opposite. It's very like heartfelt and earnest and like trying to make the world a better place. And then I'm like, yeah, but come into the gutter with me, Sarah.
and also in the interest of being heartfelt and earnest, listeners, that was a joke. I think anyone who's doing their best to live authentically and make whatever weird fucked up art they're called to make is making the universe better. It's the people who limit themselves to the cookie cutter lives. They feel like they have to contort their idiosyncratic minds to fit. Those are the people who are allowing everything that's been going wrong to happen.
Incredible. Listeners, I hope you'll join us next week when we're going to be talking about the Celestial Toy Maker.
Oh, just tack on some racism.
Yeah.
Is that a racist episode?
They're all racist episodes.
It's
So-
British.
So celestial, in like old British slang, was a slur for Asian people.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need
Apparently.
to tell my LARP that.
Oh
Because
no.
It's not like it's
My
not
character
in
is
itself.
a celestial.
I mean,
'cause
it's not now.
Yeah, it is like specifically of that time period. That's what it was. It was not necessarily referencing of the stars solely.
Like when they
Mhm.
made the episode, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the guy was just like, oh, they
Oh,
just cast a white guy in very Asian looking garb, and that was the Celestial Toy Maker. But now we call him the Celestial Toy Maker because now Celestial means of the stars.
Well, it always has meant that.
Shut up.
Okay. You know what? You're so right.
And that's a podcast episode, everybody. Thanks for listening to Stitches in Time. Music by Becca McGlynn. Art by Mandy Oquendo. Logo by Ben Paddon. Produced by Becca McGlynn and Ben Paddon. Check us out on socials at Who Stitched. All right. Will you join me in
I shall.
a hymn to praise our Lord happiness? Mandy, you
Thank you.
wanted me
No.
to start higher? than I was.
You want it low?
No, I'm just going to be self-conscious about it no matter what note you go, because that requires me to know what the next note should be,
I see.
and I don't.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, you fucking nailed it last
You did nail
episode,
it.
So.
Yeah, you did it perfect.
Aw.
Am I going mad? Or did the TARDIS play Wide Blue Yonder?
Yeah, didn't it?
What for?
I wonder.
We sang that in the choir in primary school.
I just realized that one of my cats is sleeping underneath my desk. I just set up this desk, and like they've just been allowed in the office today because, as you can see, it's still quite a mess. One of them is just sleeping down there. It's so cute.
Someone got a very old robot out of storage to walk very slowly down a very long corridor.
And one of the things that... I'm going to do that again without burping.
I think that makes sense.
Or maybe I'll do it again and burp louder.
I think one or the other.
Sorry, I'll do that for my OnlyFans later.
Well, then you're not the Doctor, because he knows everything.
Except for the million times when I don't, and I tell you so, don't I?
Well, that's true. Except if I know that's true, then I'm me.
Good, we covered all my main points I came in with. Incest, My Little Pony cum jar.
You did know. I knew it. You're just waiting for it to come up organically in conversation.
Always
Oh my
am.
God. The YouTube
what
just
perfect
ended.
timing.
Oh my
That's
God.
amazing.
Oh.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
That's fucked up. I found myself on the Wikipedia page for list of ethnic slurs by ethnicity, and this is a bad page.
Oh,
This page
no.
shouldn't exist.
Oh no.
Is there an ethnicity you'd like a new slur for?